So we're here just outside St James's Park. We've just been to Eddie Howe's pre-match press conference. We've heard from him, Kieran Trippier, Luis Enrique and Lucas Hernandez ahead of the match. We then got a little glimpse of PSG getting their first look at St James's Park. About 20 players in the matchday squad took their position, did a little rondo in the middle of the pitch before we were quickly turfed out after about 10 or 15 minutes. It was a fantastic insight of what the game's going to be like. You know, you can feel the atmosphere in the city. Newcastle United returning at the Champions League, their first game on home soil for 20 years. And Eddie Howe completely gets that. You know, he's completely bought into the atmosphere. He knows it's going to be a fantastic game tomorrow. He knows the crowd are going to be on his side. And Kieran Trippier is exactly the same. They've spoken about it in the dressing room about how much this game means to the fans and, you know, what we're going to see with war flags. We've seen the drone displays already this week. It's all just building up for what's going to be an absolutely fantastic evening. And Luis Enrique as well, the PSG manager, you know, some people might not remember, but he actually played for Barcelona against Newcastle United at St James's Park. He spoke about it being a hostile atmosphere, but in a sporting way. He also spoke, you know, at length about, you know, the praise he gave Newcastle United. He said they're almost a complete team. So you can tell he and his PSG players aren't going to take this lightly. They're going to give it a good go tomorrow. But yeah, it's going to be an absolutely fantastic clash. Now, I've just moved spots slightly. Those of you who watch the post-match Facebook Lives will recognise that I'm just outside the stadium, on the concourse. And I just want to talk a little bit about what the Eddie Howe press conference was like. You know, big moment for him, leading a team out at home for the first time in the Champions League. Obviously, they had that San Siro experience under their belt. They will have learned no end from that 0-0 draw in Italy just 2 weeks ago. But this is the game that fans have been looking forward to. This game at home at St James's Park is the one that they've really been relishing. Eddie Howe asked, as we usually ask him, we try and get a little bit of insight into what he's feeling personally. He wasn't giving much away as ever. He said that he feels like, yes, the occasion's going to be fantastic for him. He's very proud for the city, but when that music starts and the players walk out of the anthem, he isn't going to be thinking about, you know, what it means for him personally. He's just going to be stood there on the touchline thinking, how can I, you know, help the players focus, which is a typical answer that we've came to sort of experience and sort of learn from Eddie Howe in recent months. Kieran Trippier, a press conference that was completely dominated by questions about Kylian Mbappe. You know, how on earth is Kieran Trippier feeling about potentially coming up against the best player in the world? No nonsense answers from Trippier. He's even asked if he would swap shirts with the PSG winger. He said no. He said all he's thinking about is 3 points. He's worried about the shirt swapping after the game when hopefully his team are coming off with the win. But as I said, a lot of the press conference was spent talking about the winger who there was a few fitness doubts about him before coming into this game. He obviously limped off against Marseille at the end of September. He then played in the 0-0 draw against Clermont Foot on Saturday. But there was a few doubts. Luis Enrique was asked about it and he gave a very simple answer. Now, what you've got to understand with these Luis Enrique answers was he was being asked the question in French. He was then replying in Spanish. Those answers were then being translated back in French, and then the English translator would get his go. But when Luis Enrique was asked about his fitness, he simply answered si, oui and yes. Kylian Mbappe is 100% fit to start at St James's Park. We've just seen him running out with his co-stars out at St James's Park, getting his first look. Now, a couple of years ago when this takeover happened, there was a few Newcastle fans that thought, well, are they going to go out and buy Kylian Mbappe? We know that hasn't been the case in the last month. We know that isn't the transfer model of this ownership, but it's very good to see that Kylian Mbappe finally back on Tyneside. He's the headline act. He's the superstar that all Newcastle United fans want to see. We saw the hero's welcome that he got when the Newcastle United fans queued outside the hotel this afternoon. He's the man we want to see, and it's very good that he is involved this week. Now, we also heard from Lucas Hernandez, the left back, very highly rated at PSG, just joined them over the summer. His brother Theo actually played against Newcastle United in that AC Milan draw just 2 weeks ago. He was asked whether he'd learned anything from his brother. He talked about Newcastle's defensive solidity. He talked about how compact they are. Clearly, Theo Hernandez knows after that 0-0 draw where AC Milan really did try to break Newcastle down and failed, That's the words of warning that he's given to his brother Lucas. They know, talking to the PSG players today, seeing what they've been like, seeing the praise that Luis Enrique give Newcastle United, you know that they're not coming here and expecting a walkover, even though PSG are the overwhelming favourites to qualify from this group over Dortmund and Milan and Newcastle. Luis Enrique believes that Newcastle United were the team that nobody wanted to face. They were the team that nobody wanted to draw from pot 4. And he knows tomorrow that it's going to be a very, very tough game. You can feel the atmosphere in the city. It's very, very quiet here outside St James's Park. The Strawberry's probably half as full as what it will be this time tomorrow, but you can really feel like it's going to be a fantastic game. Wherever you're watching it, I hope you enjoy it. And just having witnessed what the stadium's looking like, whoever's got a ticket for tomorrow's game, you're going to be treated to a very, very good treat. And I know War Flags have done their bit, and I'm sure the fans will do their bit as well.